Hello Malakas, it's Stav here at MalakaMotorsports. We are getting ready to pull my motor today. We got the car back from fabrication. The intercooler piping is done, the intercooler mounting is done, the exhaust routing is done. Everything's ready to get this car running and firing. We're running into one issue that we've had for about 2 months, but we haven't been able to work on it for the fact that it's been at fabrication. We have an intermittent crank signal issue. The car starts, it runs, but when you start to give it a little bit of, fuel and RPM, it starts to break up around 1800 RPMs and losing all crank signal. We've checked wiring. The only thing we're waiting for is the oscilloscope to check the wavelengths and try to really fine tune where it's at. Now, it's taking about 10 days longer than it should, so we're gonna pull apart the short block here and check the trigger wheel. Okay, it's a possibility that it could either have been bent on installation, missing a tooth some way, While waiting for the motor, we'll pull the motor, we'll check it. If there's any kind of signs of it, we're going to replace it with a brand new one here that we have, that I purchased here from the Volkswagen dealership. Anyway, so we want to pull the motor, check it. We're going to do a time-lapse video, which I'm going to show you a little bit of the fabrication we got done. And hopefully we can narrow down this issue, because, we want to get this car firing and rolling and making some 12-valve power, to work on 24 valves. 24 valve R32 motor there. Look, it's on a dolly. No respect here. George here. Slept a little in today, so Stavro got a lot done. Basically disconnected, got everything done with the motor himself. We pulled it. That's when I woke up. So this is the point. We have the motor about getting ready to go on the stand. Stavro mentioned earlier in the video that the reason why we're doing this is to eliminate any potential hardware issues. So it's going to be the tone ring. Let me see if I can grab it for you guys. Now, some people call this the tone ring, some people call it the trigger wheel. We never replaced this on Stavros' 12 valve. We did on mine when I was doing my build, just for peace of mind. But Stavro looked at it, he didn't think it would need changing. And it doesn't, when we pulled off the pan originally when we did the build and we disassembled the motor, it didn't look damaged, it looked fairly new. So we left it alone. So we're replacing it now with a brand new trigger wheel, just to eliminate the fact that, hey, it could be the tone ring, it could be the trigger wheel, let's just replace it. So at least from now, if we're still having the same issue, we know it has something to do with the wiring, we know it has something to do with the sensor. We had a harness maker come over from Europe, and he spent about 2 weeks doing this, and we had some issues during the initial wire connector, sensor, shit like that. Normal stuff that happens during a build. So we're hoping it's not the harness. We're hoping that this is just an easy fix. This is not even really an expensive part, but it is time consuming. So we have to pull the motor, we have to pull the bottom end apart, remove the crank, replace the tone ring, and then throw it back in there, possibly replacing bearings. So yeah, let's get the motor on the stand and let's take a look at this. We're gonna have to remove the crank and then replace this and then throw it back in. All right, guys. Stavro's taking off his oil pan bolts. We're going to remove the oil pan, see if we can rotate the motor, take a look at that trigger wheel that we showed you before earlier in the video. And we'll see if it's damaged. It obviously looks damaged. I mean, we're going to replace it anyway, but just to kind of peace of mind, take a look at it and see what the heck's going on. So this is Stavros' car, 12 valve, and I don't believe in 12 valves, no offense. So he did most of the work today. He's on the floor getting dirty, and I'm over here making fun of him because it's the 12 valve. Should definitely upgrade to that R32 motor we have sitting over there. Stavro likes punishment. You like punishment, Stavro?
I don't have a 24 valve.
Anyway, we'll continue on with the time lapse, and then we'll take a look at this trigger wheel. Thanks for watching so far. Guys, so Stavro got the oil pan off, and we're looking at all the teeth. We don't see any damage at all on anything for some reason, and it looks pretty good from our eyes, and obviously it's coated with oil and maybe some grime, but other than that, the teeth look pretty intact. Now, is this warped? Is this bent? I don't know. I mean, to us, it looks good to the end. We did a full rotation of how how the motor's going to be turning, so we turned it completely around, took a look at all the teeth, and for some reason it looks almost identical, except just not as oily as the trigger wheel of what we're going to be putting in.
Well, this thick oil is the braking oil, George. That's the purple braking oil we use, the Lucas.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's wrong. All I'm saying is, so to us it looks good, but sometimes even with the naked eye, things may be screwed up. So we're just going to replace it. So we're going to turn the motor completely upside down on the engine stand. We're going to disconnect the timing covers, and then we're going to pop off the crank as gently as we can, replace that ring, which again, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So this is what we're going to be putting in there. And then, I mean, this looks almost in the same condition as the one that's in there, but this one's brand new, so we'll see. If it completely starts now, and it idles just fine as is, but if we don't have the intermittent crank signal anymore, we'll know it was this. If we still have it, that's when we know we got to dig into the harness. All right, guys, let's continue on. Out right over here. Bearing surfaces don't look bad at all. I mean, after all, the motor didn't have any load in it, didn't really break in. It ran for maybe a accumulation of maybe 30 minutes overall, maybe 20. So anyway, that's the tone ring. Trigger ring. Or trigger ring. And then we have the fasteners we're going to remove, pop it off the back, and then put the new trigger ring on. So let's do that. What's up, Malaka? So I kind of fucked up. So we were removing, or I was removing the bolts, and I ended up using a T27 instead of a T30, which I thought it was a 27.
You fucked up.
And I stripped one of the bolts. So I'll show you guys in a second. So this is gonna put a halt to this process. We're gonna hopefully go get an extractor set and then take it out. But right now, we're kind of stuck. We can't remove the trigger wheel until that last bolt is out. Unfortunately, I stripped it. So it's that last bolt. Where is it at over there? So yeah, guys, I fucked up. And the beautiful part about this, guys, is that when you fuck up, you own it, and that's exactly what I did. Is I stripped out that bolt.
Well, technically, I own it.
It's alright, and you're gonna pay for it too. Damn, it happens, guys. So
To George.
that's
Happens to George.
That's the last piece before we take out the trigger wheel. And once we remove this wheel, comes out here forward. We pull it out, replace it, and then we'll throw it back into the motor. Bearings look good. There was no abnormal wear. Then again, they really didn't get a chance to break in. So other than that, guys, I think this is a wrap. This is definitely a wrap for this episode. Final thoughts, Slava?
Do not let George work on anything.
Yeah, don't let me work on anything. I stripped one of the bolts, unfortunately, but that's what happens. You know,
You removed 6 bolts today, and one of the bolts you happen tomorrow.
I don't work on 12 valves, man. Sorry. I work on cars that run.
24 valve. How's that going for you?
How's that 12 valve going for you?
You sabotaged me today.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Part 2 for Stavros's VR6 reassembly / trigger wheel replacement is going to be up tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Later, Malakas.
See you guys in the next episode.
Christos Anesti.
Oh, yeah. Christos Anesti, Alethos Anesti, for those of you Greeks out there. All right, bye.